Okay, welcome to today's short flow practice. We're going to be going over the same 4 key movements that I covered in the last video program. So cat-cow, sending the leg back from hands and knees, sphinx, and one-legged frog. We're just gonna switch up a little bit what order we do things in, okay? But once again, we are going to be starting, well, the whole practice is gonna be down on the mat on our hands and knees, and we are gonna be starting in a child's pose today. So coming to hands and knees, you can choose your child's pose. I, like last time said, I personally prefer a wide-legged child's pose, okay? So we're just gonna take about 10 breaths here just to get ourselves into today's practice, okay? So sinking the hips back towards the heels, walking the hands out front and letting the forehead rest on the floor, really bringing your attention to the length through your spine, that opening and closing, that expansion through your full ribcage, through your full back, and just letting as much muscular tension as you can go. All right, you can start to lift your head off of the mat. We're going to come up to hands and knees, passing through a couple of cat and cow movements. Toes can be curled under if you want to, but just remembering that we're going to inhale as we dip the back into cow for some spinal extension, and we're going to exhale as we arch the back into cat. Following your own breath, you can move back and forth between the two a few times. And just as you do, don't only focus on the end shape. Also notice all the little changes and shifts and happenings that occur throughout your spine and other parts of your body as you move back and forth between these two positions. Okay, we're going to come back to tabletop. We are going to shift our weight into that left knee a little bit. We're going to extend the right knee, okay? So the right knee is straight, or as straight as you're able to go. The back hip's in extension, leg is out behind us. And while we're here, we're going to do some cat-cow. So we're going to arch into cat on an exhale. Inhale into cow. Just notice how it feels to have your spine move this way and your pelvis move this way when the left leg is still where we're used to it being, but the right is straight out behind us. Okay, come back to table. We're going to slide that right leg back in. And now we're going to do the same thing on the left. So sending the left leg out behind. We're still in a table back right now. Now you can inhale as you dip the back. It doesn't matter which one you start on, cat or cow. I just highly recommend that you exhale on cat backs and inhale on cow backs. It's kind of the most natural feeling coupling of breath with this movement, but you certainly can do the opposite. It just feels a little different. Okay, but just notice what's happening on this side when we've got that left leg out behind us, but now we're adding spinal movement and pelvis movement compared to the breakdown video and the last flow where we did everything from this tabletop back. Okay, let's bring that foot back in. We're just going to dip back into our child's pose for a moment. Let everything settle through our spine. Okay, coming back up into tabletop. We're going to come back to that right leg, sending that right leg out behind. Okay, so tabletop back, shift the weight into the left knee, curl the right toes under, send the leg back, seeing if you can maintain that integrity through your arms, your upper back, all that jazz. This time, instead of cat-cow, we're going to add a different hip movement. So those right toes are still going to be on the floor, which of course you can't see mine. Fantastic camera setup skills. My right toes are still on the floor. I'm going to sweep my foot out towards the side. Now you don't have to come up as high as I did, okay? But that's just the general kind of movement that we are doing with that leg, and you can move in and out of that a couple of times, or you can get your leg out to the side and then stay there. But just notice what happened in the rest of your body as you sent that right leg more out to the side. Is there a tendency to let your hips fall over to the left? Okay, bring the leg back behind you. Find that tabletop position where everything's in a nice straight line. And as you sweep that leg out to the side, just notice if you can keep yourself in the center of your mat, or do your hips sway? So I'm going to change my orientation so that you can kind of see what I mean. So I'm in tabletop. I'm going to send my right leg back, and I'm sending it out to the side. So if you'll notice, all this stuff stayed where it was. Or when I send it out, I could kind of do this kind of thing. We're trying to stay more upright, okay? So you can come out of that, come back to your tabletop position, and we're gonna try coming down to the floor just for a little bit of a break. We're gonna kind of recreate that leg out to the side position by coming into our one-legged frog on the right. So we're gonna bring this leg up, and then you can just rest and hang out, let your body relax. Letting go of as much muscular effort as you're able to. Using any blankets or props or pillows to fill in the gaps between yourself and the floor if you're feeling like you need a little bit of support anywhere. All right, so we can send that right leg back alongside that left. We're gonna bring our hands under our shoulders, pop up into table. I'm gonna try and get myself a little more in shot for this side. Okay, so from tabletop, we're going to shift our weight a bit more into that right knee this time. Curl the left toes under, send that leg straight back. Okay, so hopefully you've kept that integrity through your shoulders, your spine. You haven't, lost anything through here. And now we're just going to sweep the left leg out to the side. And again, hopefully, you haven't collapsed over to the right side of your mat. Now I feel this in my glute, bringing this left side up. You can put that foot kind of flattish on the floor. You don't have to be up on the balls of your foot. I'll show you on this leg so that you can see, instead of being like this, you can kind of do this if you want to. And again, you can sweep in and out, you can hold it for a while, whatever feels right in your body today. But the sweeping, even if you just do it every once in a while and slowly, just lets you really feel any shifts or funky sensations or give and takes that might happen in your body as that left leg does something a little different than what all your other limbs are doing. Sweep it back. And come back to table. Okay, once again, we're going to come down to the mat on our bellies. And we're going to bring that left leg out into a one-legged frog. And we're just going to hang out here for a few breaths. All right, you can send that leg back down to meet its friend. We're going to bring our hands under our shoulders. We're going to push up through table, widen the knees, and we're going to settle back into a child's pose for a moment. We're not going to be here long right now. We're going to push up, transferring, trying to make a smooth transition, bringing those knees together, coming down to the mat on your belly, stacking your elbows under your shoulders, finding that pelvic tilt, that long spine and spinal extension, coming into Sphinx. For the first time in today's practice. And we're just going to transition back and forth between those two a couple of times, okay? Because they're both face down on the mat, on the floor kind of positions, but one's like way forward on the mat and the other's at the back of the mat. So practicing switching back and forth between the two smoothly. You can kind of just rock back and forth. Just to get used to that general process and switch between shapes. Okay, one more time, coming back into Sphinx. We're going to hold this for 5 breaths. And finally, to end off today's practice, we are going to once again push back into a child's pose. And we're going to spend some time here. You can be here as long as you want to. I'm just eventually going to cut off the video in this position. But again, you're just revisiting that, letting as much relax as you can, letting your body sink into the floor as best as you can. You can prop yourself up from underneath if you want. Feeling, you can be in the posture right now, again, microphone. And really, in particular, I really want you to feel the breath moving in your body. Feel it moving through your full back. Imagine yourself breathing into your hips, breathing into your shoulders, breathing into your feet. As bizarre as that sounds, sending that energy to the different corners of your body. And just seeing if you can allow yourself to sink more and more into this posture comfortably. All right, so you can stay here as long as feels good for you. When you are ready to get up, you can bring yourself up through table into a seated position. Just do a little, take stock of your body and how things are feeling after that practice. And I will see you next time.